It's pretty amazing that you're all here. Some of you I've met at different phases of my life, and of course during the recent outreach. We really appreciate it. As you can imagine, it's an important moment for my team, the company, and myself. My name is Peter de Kulve. I work in consumer goods for a long time. I've worked on most continents in many different categories, but I want to highlight 3 experiences that are actually quite relevant for the Magnum ice cream company. First, I built a wellness and supplement business in the US. Why is this interesting? Because it's a digital-first business, and there's a lot of knowledge on functional foods, which I believe is interesting also for us. Then I had the privilege to lead a huge home care business that had a margin problem. Sounds familiar. And we got the growth going on the back of some really cool innovation like Wonder Wash and Infinity Clean. And when you don't use that yet, the probiotic product, you should. And then last but not least, I was Chief Technology and Transformation Officer in Unilever. To some of you, I presented in Mumbai Unilever's tech strategy. When you set up a new company like we do, from a piece of white paper, having a deep understanding of technology and how you need it and how you can apply it in the business is important. But we're here for ice cream. And ice cream is a super interesting category. And for those of you who have kids, it's always cool to say, I go to an ice cream meeting. Everybody always loves it. But why I got really excited, because you don't often get presented an asset that is fundamentally good market, good brands, good channel positions, but the business is not doing well. It is below potential, both on profitability as well as growth. And that excited me. It was my inner activist. But before we go into the algos, the strategy, and all the good stuff, I first want to get you in the mood of ice cream. Can I see the first video?
मैं यहाँ से पैदल ही चला जाऊँ। पर
Esse a gente ofereceu.
Não, obrigada. Não, eu tô brincando. Eu quero sim.
Everybody said to do each and every little thing. But what does it bring if I ain't got you? Ain't got. Hey, baby, you don't know what it's like. Baby, you don't know what it's like.
Well,
To love somebody.
that's such a good big brother. Well done.
To love somebody.
Thank you.
The way I love you.
Absolutely not.
Merhaba.
You don't know what it's like. Baby, you don't know what it's like. To love somebody. To love somebody. The way I love you.
But you should eat less, otherwise your wife will run away.
Babuji, in that case, I will start eating more.
Ele sabe comprar um sorvete.
Ah, é?
Around the world, everybody loves ice cream. It's actually pretty amazing. Whether I'm in Pakistan, or whether you're in Brazil, or whether you're in Finland, young, old, rich, poor, everybody loves ice cream. Interestingly, people cannot always explain why. And therefore, we conducted a very serious piece of brain research to find an explanation, because that's interesting for our marketing programs. Can I see the video?
At the Magnum Ice Cream Company, we asked a simple question. Why does life taste better with ice cream? Working with the University of Amsterdam, we measured brain engagement and emotional response in a real-world city environment. 125 participants. Each person tried both an ice cream and other common snacks, from categories like crisps, biscuits, soda, and chocolate. Finding one. Ice cream triggers significantly higher cognitive attention than other snacks. The brain stays more alert, more focused, more present. Finding two. Ice cream sustains emotional engagement from the very first bite to the last. While engagement fades when eating other snacks, ice cream holds our attention. Not only because you need to stay focused as ice cream melts, but also because ice cream is more than taste. It's an emotional experience. At the Magnum Ice Cream Company, we turned that insight into lasting memories, building brands with extraordinary products and unlocking value. The Magnum Ice Cream Company, where science meets pleasure. Life tastes better with ice cream.
So these memory structures are actually really relevant, because they make them, a lot of products your parents grew up with, your grandparents grew up with. And to activate those brands, because they're so well rooted, is not very expensive. But even more importantly, ice cream is a very competitive product category versus other snacks. And I will say more about that later. But now shifting gear, because we are not only here for ice cream. What are the key investment highlights? First, the market is large, it's growing consistently, it's resilient, and has attractive returns. Secondly, we are the largest ice cream company in the world, with over 160 years of expertise, heritage. Our portfolio is well balanced, with strong brands, leading capabilities, good channel positions, good geographic positions, and it sets us up for superior growth. We have a clear strategy to unlock this growth, but especially a real detailed plan to unlock productivity. We've revamped the full organization and built a winning culture and an incentive system aligned to the midterm goals. Let me unpack this, and I will start with the market. The market is large, 75 million. It's part of the broader snacking market, which is sort of 500 billion. Why is it part of? Because the core demand drivers are actually the same. People choose what snack they want to take when they enter the outlet. And snacking has very good returns ahead of the normal consumer good market. We did a lot of research on what is now actually market growth, and there are different numbers out there. We looked at all the different models, but actually combined that with our very granular market-by-market knowledge, and could take high inflation countries and so out. And we believe that the market is growing sort of 3 to 4%, half in volume, half in value, year in, year out, for a very long period. And what is driving those fundamentals? It's snacking occasions. There are countries with lots of ice cream occasions, and there are countries with few ice cream occasions. And as an industry, we build those consumption moments. Then there is availability. There are countries with low availability, countries with high availability. There is a direct correlation. And last but not least, premiumization. And premium not only means more indulgent, but can also mean more healthy. Some stats. When you look at these occasions, and we did a very deep occasion study in all the big countries where we are present, in countries with a high consumption, you tend to have lots of ice cream consumptions. America is a country where there is ice cream all the time. There's even ice cream in your soda. But there are also countries where there are hardly any ice cream occasions. And it is directly correlated with the size of the market. Then distribution. Actually, is a little bit of a no-brainer. When you can't buy it, you probably won't sell it, you won't use it. And there is a huge difference in the sort of distribution depths between countries. And for us, very interestingly, and also to be expected, in many emerging markets, ice cream distribution is far off where we believe it should be. There's a big upside potential. And then the premium part of the market grows faster than the value and the mainstream parts. Everything is growing, value mainstream approximately 3%, but 5% growth in premium. Interestingly, when you look at the channel structure, there is basically grocery sales, and there is away from home sales, and there is e-com. The big growth driving channel is e-com. And this is, of course, also logic. It's especially fast commerce and the delivery, food delivery services, because all of a sudden, you bring an impulse product as ice cream on thumb's reach of desire. And the digital channel grows almost 10% a year, and historically has been growing even faster. Then when you look at the market competitively, there are two global players. There's, of course, the Magnum ice cream company and Froneri. We have a larger share at 21%. And then you have smaller players, all below sort of 4 or 5. And you have some real regional players, like Amul is strong in India, Yili is strong in China. But it's basically a concentrated market. Now, many industries that you study get disrupted by new companies who come up with some amazing benefit. They scale it to $1 billion, like Liquid IV, like Unilever has done with Liquid IV. You don't see that in ice cream, because it's very easy to start an ice cream company and be the king of your village or the king of your neighborhood, but to scale it, you actually need expensive factory, skills factory, you need expensive distribution. And what you see is that people get to sort of 60, 70 million, and then they start to stop growing, or they sell out, or they sometimes invest too much and go bankrupt. But it's a very concentrated industry for a reason. Then I often get the question, like ice cream, can I eat all this ice cream? It's actually quite interesting that the caloric profile of ice cream is very different from its competing snacks. Chocolate, potato chips, even rich cookies, they tend to be 400 to 600 cal per 100 gram. A very loaded Ben & Jerry or Magnum is around the 350, 300. And we go to water ice cream, 230. This choice is, of course, fantastic. But in the current discussion of GLP-1 and nutrition, it's even more relevant. I know that there are questions on GLP-1 and the impact and the long-term impact on our industry. Let me first say it's a field in development. The drugs are in development. There's a lot of innovation, application, usage, benefits, problems. But we luckily have real data. In penetration in Europe and the UK is still very low, but in the US, we have sort of 6% of the people on the drug. And what do we see? People tend to consume, and we discuss this not only internally and with our scientists, but especially also with our customers, because as you can imagine, our customers are super interested in this space. So what do we see? People on the drug consume less volume, especially less munching volume. Ice cream is slightly less impacted because we are more special occasions. There is a lot of choice in ice cream, low cal to high cal. And what we see is that for every 12% of penetration, on the modeling in the US, on the data that we have, the market sort of loses 0.5% of volume. But there are also opportunities. I think a no-regret move, you would probably all agree with me, is portion control. And we do that big time. And the Magnum bonbons, you know, my wife and I don't want to eat a Magnum every evening, but a bonbon in front of Yellowstone or Mopland is actually not that bad. So portion control works for everyone. Then protein. A couple of years ago, we bought Yasso. And Yasso has actually been a really good acquisition. It's grown more than 20% a year for the last 5 years. And of course, the whole GLP-1 and the protein range helps. But we also have Breyer's Carb Smart, a high protein proposition that we developed ourselves and is delivering for a long time. Then there's a lot we can do on the nutritional profile of ice cream. Over the years, we got 21,000 tons of sugar out of our formulation, and increasingly we apply technology to take more sugar out. Because in ice cream, sugar is not only flavor, it's also a structuring agent, and there are new opportunities popping up, especially applying modern biotech science. And then last but not least, it's evolving. Nobody really knows what's happening, and together with our customers, we're fully on top of every research publication, every trend, and every piece of data, because the reality is we need to be quick on our feet. But the immediate impact, even when penetration levels would double, is actually not that high. Doesn't mean it's not important, but we stay on top of it. So, switching gear from the market to the company, this is a very beautiful photo. It's the Walls store. And Walls was a sausage maker that ultimately got bought by Unilever. And in 1922, they diversified into ice cream. No, we are not going to diversify into sausages, don't you worry. We have no plans in that space. But this business has a lot of heritage and experience. I find it really humbling to think that in 1866, Breyers was founded in Philadelphia in the States. You know, how many generations have been enjoying the purity pledge of Mr. Breyers? You know, Walls, 22, Popsicle, born in California, 23, the 5-cent duo stick product. We ourselves launched Cornetto. We bought businesses. We launched Magnum. More recently, we bought Yasso. A long heritage. But more importantly, I think this is one of the things where you really have to admire Unilever. They helped us to build an unbelievable portfolio of brands around the world. We are number one. We are almost an 8 billion euro business, 1.3 EBITDA. We have a 21% global market share. We are the number one in away from home with 3 million cabinets, which de facto is 4 million square meters of prime real estate. And 4 out of the 5 largest brands in the industry are ours. You say, okay, you're number one, so what? Of course, it's scale. There is moat in scale, but there is also an enormous moat in these cabinets, in these brands, in basically our global infrastructure. Very, very difficult to replicate. This is not easy supplement businesses where with all kinds of third parties you can do that. You really need the assets, and we have them. We're number one. Then, we're number one in all regions. We're number one in the Americas. There's also great regional brands like Breyers, like Talenti, like Yasso, Klondike. What would you do for a Klondike bar? 90% market share, 3 billion business. Europe's 3 billion business. In ANZ, we have the famous brand Golden Gate Time. We have Catador. We have Twister. And we have 2 million in the fast-growing EMEA region. You know, there is an extra message here that this is a hard currency business. 70% of our turnover is hard currency. But Turkey, we de facto run as a dollar business. So in reality, 80% of our turnover is hard currency. And that pleases us a lot because it gives a lot of robustness to the business. Then, you know, we have this global leadership, but, you know, ultimately in an industry like ours, it's often about local leadership. We have local leadership in most markets. You know, how often do you find a business like this, honestly? We're number 2 in China. I worked for 5 years in China. We were number 5. Over the years, we have become number 2. China is a super competitive country. We overtook Menu. We have Yili ahead of us. So I ask Weifeng a difficult question, how long it's going to take. They're quite a lot bigger, so it will take some while. And we have Amul in India, a dairy cooperative, who is the number 1 in India. But we're also making really good progress now in our Indian business. Our footprint, you know, the market is sort of 35% emerging market, 65% developed markets. The Magnum ice cream company sort of reflects that. We're a little bit larger in the developed markets. Our largest competitor have a different footprint. So we are actually well positioned to outperform the industry on growth. Then, we were a very brand-oriented business. We were not always a very customer-oriented business, but we still have very good position. We're category captain with most large retailers in the world, and especially in the United States. Sir Mike? Oh, I'm back. So, especially in the United States, category captain really matters because you help shape portfolio, promotional schedules, etc. Also in Europe, large category captainship. I already told you, we have double the amount of cabinets than our nearby competitor, also an enormous moat. And then, very proudly, over the last couple of years, we developed ice cream in e-commerce, and we are category captain with all large e-commerce players. I meet the leaders. I have my business reviews with Tony Xu of DoorDash. We work with the Chinese players, the Indian players. And ice cream at a thumb's length of desire is really, really important. And we know how to play this space. You will hear a little bit more later. Then we have these really huge global brands like Walls, Langnese, Algida, however they are called. Galushui in China. We have Magnum, which we built to 2 billion. We have Ben & Jerry's, over 1 billion. We have Cornetto, almost 1 billion. And then we have licensed brands. Licensed brands with confectionery players, but also with entertainment companies like Disney. We have brands that are still local and are ready for international expansion. And we have real local brands. And these real local brands are really important because these are the brands deeply rooted in all these memory structures. They're affordable to activate, and they give us scale and depth in all markets where we operate. And for all the Dutch here, the Rocket, my favorite ice cream, is our cheapest water ice cream. It's absolutely delicious. I don't know why I believe it's delicious, but it's my ice cream. And in pieces, it's the largest ice cream in the country. And recently, the city of Amsterdam celebrated its 750th birthday. What they asked, can you make an Amsterdam 750 rocket? And we did. But also Klondike, what would you do for a Klondike bar or Grom in Italy? Amazing portfolio. And we own our brands. And why is owning your brands important? Because we actually build them and we invest our money in advertising instead of license fees. I also, not every 5 years, have a scary discussion. Will I keep my license fee because somebody else is bidding on them? Or will I keep it? Or with a change of ownership clause, will I lose it when I sell the company? We like owning and building our own brands. I already said the market is premiumizing. We have a really premium portfolio. 77% of our portfolio is premium, and we are still growing that. And I will explain later that we actually do the whole price pyramid, but premium brands is really our strength. And this is underpinned by a very strong R&D capability. You know, making ice cream, you can make it in the kitchen, and when you eat it immediately, it's actually delicious. You know, we do it at home. But making ice cream is actually really tough. You need to control the base, you know, making sure that the microstructure is good. A lot of science. The blending, the forming. A lot of our ice creams are very complex. Assembly. An ice cream factory, some of you have seen it. There's a lot of robotics in an ice cream factory. It is an assembled products. Packaging systems, selling systems, increasingly digitizing. I will say a little bit later, and Tolo will show you some stuff. We have lots of patents, research agreements, design registrations, and trade secrets like the Magnum chocolate. We have an unbelievable footprint. This is a food product. Safety is super important. And I'm very proud that we can make quality, safe ice cream around the whole world. Our factory in Pakistan is as good as our factory in Sweden. Our factory in Pakistan is as good as our factory in Sweden. That requires an enormous system to get that to a level. We have 36 factories, we have 210 warehouses around the world, 2,000 distributors, in every main market, development capability, and a state-of-the-art research center in Kulve between Oxford and Cambridge. And we're the only one with a serious research capability in ice cream. So, we have a growth advantage portfolio. We have world-class premium brands. They grow faster than normal brands. We have a footprint in emerging markets. They grow faster than the rest of the world. And we have a fantastic growth advantage channel footprint. And now the big question for you all is why did you need a focused standalone ice cream company when everything is so great? Is the key question. I often get asked that question. We believe that, and Unilever believes, Fernando believes, and Gemma is sitting here, she believes, that actually a more focused Unilever is good for Unilever. For us, this has been such an unbelievable game changer. I worked in ice cream when I was very young, with lots of hair, when ice cream was run as a standalone business owned by Unilever. I've run with an integrated business, and now I'm running a standalone business again. The freedom to set your own strategy, in our case, stepping up growth, unlocking profitability, to resource allocation, where do you put your people, which people do you want to have, what type of capabilities, where do you put, how much do you invest, and where, and an operating model. That is not an operating model made to do lipstick, home care, Hellmann's, and ice cream, but an operating model only for ice cream. And with people who wake up and go to bed only thinking about ice cream. Think about it. Imagine you're a Unilever salesperson, you have all these categories, and now all of a sudden, you only think about ice cream. So, to unpack that a little bit, because it's a big question, where do we see the benefits? Because we're now 1.5 years in, dedicated sales force. Dedicated sales force, only ice cream. Real expertise. Also the customers love this, because they need people to help drive the category. We can reinvest again in out-of-home, in away-from-home system. We basically set up a supply chain that works for a frozen, relatively low-margin product, where actually logistic costs are as high as manufacturing costs. With an investment algorithm, and Abhijit will take you through, that is aligned with the snacking industry and this business. And with people who are rewarded, and solely rewarded, like myself, for making a success out of ice cream. And we can integrate it now. Integrate all the functions only around ice cream. You knew that it was not working. No, market share have been in a decline stable for a 10-year period. Profitability was flat for a 10-year period. But, and I will take you through the strategy a little bit later, the new focus is starting to work. Last year was the first year we stepped up market share, volume, profit, and as you know, it has continued to improve in the first half of this year. And you'll say, I was living in the UK, it was very hot. Guys, I look at market share. And I can explain you the weather, but the UK weather, unfortunately, was not everywhere. Otherwise, I would really have had a problem for next year. So, the performance step up is really happening. So, what's now the strategy that unlocks this profitability and this growth? Basically, we believe in the magical powers of ice cream. It's truly a transformational product. And we believe that life tastes better with ice cream. As global market leader, our job is to grow the market. This is what our customers expect. This is where we hold ourselves to account. Also, when you grow the market, you tend to take most share, but the objective is not share, it's actually growing the market. We have a growth strategy, a productivity strategy, a reinvestment strategy, underpinned by a tech strategy. It's really interesting. When you set up a new company, like we did, you can apply new technology. As Chief Technology Officer, and you will know that from your own businesses, the biggest challenge is actually not the technology, but it's actually getting people to work with the new technology. We need to learn full stop new. So this is a fantastic moment to apply on the new processes immediately the new technology. A focused ESG agenda and a new culture, the ice cream way. And Ronald will unpack that after me. So, what is the growth model? First, we build occasions with innovation. You price yourself competitively in the broader snacking market because we are not alone. So, certainly, we roll out our international premium brands. It's a proven way for us to premiumize the market. We moved to a digital dynamic demand creation system. Later, Julien will unpack this. And we are very focused on driving availability. That is share of shelf, share of promo, and of course also share in away from home. So, at a high level, how does our marketing model work? We look at the macro trends in snacking, whether that is comfort, indulgence, chocolate, cookies, but also in control and wellness, protein, zero everything, energy, hydration. and all the celebration products, the release products. And we take those big trends and apply it to our occasion-led market development model, where we are very specific on the who, where, when, why question. And we have mapped this for all markets around the world. And then, when we know who to target, where to target, when to target, we develop a marketing mix to unlock that occasion. Okay, I'll get back to that and explain it a little bit more. So we were always big in sort of indulgence, chocolate, cream, cookies. But when you actually look at the snacking and refreshment market, and you know that because this is your job, you do that every day, where is the mega growth? Where has it been? Protein, probiotics, zero sugar, hydration, energy. And where did you see that in the ice cream market? Where did you see all these benefits sub-zero? So, what do? You find occasion. We mapped all these occasions around the world, and then we say, okay, Ramadan is an ice cream moment, Christmas is an ice cream moment, 4th of July is an ice cream moment, Easter is an ice cream moment, but Diwali in India is not yet an ice cream moment. And then we say, okay, how can we unlock Diwali in India for ice cream? Do we need special products? Do we do promotions with retailers? Do we have a special Diwali Festival of Light ad? And you build that over time, and you create an ice cream moment. Ramadan did not used to be an ice cream moment 15 years ago. Now it is in all the Muslim countries an ice cream peak period. Movie night, on the beach, for us very normal. Pakistanis don't eat ice cream on the beach. Crazy. They should eat ice cream on the beach. Italians do. We learned the Turkish to eat ice cream on the beach. So, how do we do that in Pakistan? Then pricing. So how we go about pricing is that we map at coinage level all the snacks in a country. From very cheap to sort of a little bit more expensive to very expensive. Then we say, where is the bulk in the market? Volume and value. And then we say, okay, when this is how people consume snacks, how do we put an ice cream portfolio against it? At the right price points, and then you try to create ice creams that are competitive in that space. We export, so from the occasion, a lot of work on premiumization and driving the premium brands. It works. You know, Ben & Jerry's, Cornetto, Magnum have grown ahead of category and ahead of our own growth for many, many years. And there are other products we can do that with. Twister is a premium water ice. It's a combination of sort of dairy and sorbet. We're now bringing it to the rest of the world with the same success as we are driving Magnum over to the rest of the world. Lots of work on innovation. You know, I think, you know, I'm an innovation guy. I always love this. That's why I love the supplement space. We need to get out of flavor renovations. Flavor renovations are very important because it activates the category. My first job was in an ice cream parlor when I was 12. And people would ask, Pete, what's new? And I said, okay, we have this and this and this and this. Yeah, give me a chocolate and vanilla. It still goes like that, but you need to have the new. Because otherwise, you're just a boring company. So, but formats like the bonbons or bringing Magnum from the stick into the cone, in the pint, in the bites, stretching the brand. Yasso, famous for its sticks. Next year also in a pint, high protein, very low cal, delicious products. Really new experiments like Hydro Ice, you can taste it here, which is a sort of attempt to create a sort of liquid IV in an ice cream format, bringing Ben & Jerry from pints to other formats, and the ice balls in Thailand. I've tasted them, they're great. Ask Waifeng when you want to know more. But before I close the bucket on marketing, I would like to hand over to Julien, who's our CMO, long history in marketing, Unilever, but also a long history in L'Oréal. And he will explain you a little bit how do we do marketing in the ice cream company. Julien, over to you.
Oh, you caught me in the act. I always crave for something sweet at 2 o'clock. On that topic, did you know that more than 75% of adults snack daily? And over half of us snack at least twice a day. If we can identify the right occasion where we can be relevant to our consumers, we can generate more demand. More on that in a second. But first, let's give you a quick tour of the world of ice cream. We are the largest ice cream company in the world, made up of iconic brands with a rich heritage. Magnum, Cornetto, Ben & Jerry's, Breyers, Viennetta, and more. We lead in most of the markets we operate in, and we are not stopping there. As a global leader in ice cream, we grow by expanding the market. Our brands, product range, and innovation funnel caters to a wide array of consumer needs. Our brands are loved, and in 12 months, they'll be even bigger because we're transforming the way we market. Faster, smarter, always on. We've built a marketing model made for today's world. Social first, AI-powered, data-driven. Today, the brands that win aren't just seen, they shape culture. And we've learned people engage most with brands that feel like part of their world. From viral moments to everyday rituals, this is what we call culture that converts. It's how we generate demand. Always relevant, always driving sales. Because people don't think in campaigns, they think in moments. A late night treat, an indulgence after lunch, a birthday surprise. With collective intelligence, we understand the when, the where, and the why behind each craving so that we turn occasions into demand and demand into conversion. Take our Magnum Mini Bonbon, launched across 12 markets. They tap straight into the snacking trend and helped us exceed our volume targets by over 40%. According to Nielsen, in 25, every 9 out of 10 euro of ice cream bite-sized segments came from Magnum Bonbon. Or look at how we tapped into the birthday occasions in the Philippines. A simple idea made powerful through flavors, consistent communications, and strong trade execution. The result? A 15% volume increase and 13% contribution to total ice cream sales in the market. We're constantly creating magic with flavor, from global hits like the Dubai-style chocolate and cherry guandura, to local legends like Magnum Chili in Mexico. Ice cream that taps into culture and taste, driving more than 70% growth versus target and more than 60 million views on TikTok. Behind these successes is a market-making innovation engine. We hold more than 1,000 patents, more than 125 registered designs, more than 150 research agreements, and more than 70 trade secrets. From microstructure control to precision assembly to multisensorial formats. Our innovation covers every angle: best-in-class ingredients, culinary craftsmanship, breakthrough formats, and groundbreaking packaging. Our innovation system doesn't just drive growth, it redefines the category. We are pioneers in packaging, both for the consumer experience and for the planet. From Magnum crack pints, to Cornetto cones, to Calipo tubes, or talented jars that speak for themselves. We're creating packaging that drives visibility, unlocks occasions, and builds rituals. And we're making it sustainable, eliminating over 6,000 tons of virgin plastics from our ecosystem. And we're not just innovating the product, we're building the future of marketing with AI and technology. This is our dynamic demand generation system, an AI-powered engine that enables end-to-end marketing execution. Real-time insights, Gen AI creative asset generation, smart media plans, dynamic optimization, and social commerce that connects content to conversion. For marketers, that means faster decision and better outcomes. For consumers, it means relevant, culturally connected content. And for the business, it means higher return on investment at scale. We are scaling this approach across our brands and markets, globally and locally. This is the future of marketing at the Magnum Ice Cream Company, where data fuels insights, creativity is enhanced by AI, and culture drives conversion. And this is just the beginning.
You make everything sound better with a French accent. You have to do with my Dinglish. We were always a good marketing company. I think we're stepping up. We're actually stepping in the digital age. We're sort of building up the marketing systems that I'm used to in Nutrafoil and in Ollie and all this liquid IV. Way more digital. But actually the big step up for us as a business. So marketing we can do better, but what we could really do better was sales. In-home, we built a focused organization, people that only do ice cream. We added 1,000 sales reps. Our overheads, by the way, still go down. We built up a strong net revenue management capability and have way better discussions with our retail partners on their category development plans. In digital commerce, which we were leading, I think the Chinese now really know how to do all these TikTok stores, and we are rolling this out to the rest of the world. In QSR, there's still a lot of opportunities, and we can invest consistently year in, year out, and do it as the first investment. In away from home, we start reinvesting in our cabinets, but especially build a very strong digital ecosystem around them. And for that, I will hand over to Tolloy in a video.
Right here at this exact moment is where the magic happens. Away from home is not just a channel. It's a retail network that we own and one of our biggest assets. Today it makes up around 40% of our global ice cream turnover, with 3 million cabinets in more than 50 countries operating 4 million square meters of prime branded retail space. The away from home business is different. It has faster consumption cycles and stronger brand visibility at point of sale, and it delivers higher margins. It's a consumer touchpoint, a brand builder, and a value engine. A massive commercial machine which we haven't utilized to its full potential. Previously, cabinets fleet declined and productivity dropped, and a powerful competitive asset was underutilized. Now, we are investing to reverse the lost sales from cabinet fleet decline and reduction in productivity to ensure away from home returns to its full potential as a powerful competitive asset. As part of our new focus strategy, we have prioritized our away from home business as one of our key pillars to drive growth. What does this mean? It means we are now making the necessary investments to modernize and digitize our fleet, to boost productivity, to increase profit per square meter, and to lower our emissions. In 2024 and 2025, we are already seeing encouraging results, and it's just the beginning. Optimizing away from home sales starts with one big question: what are the right locations for the ice cream cabinets? And the answer starts with data. We use geolocation and telecom data to pinpoint high traffic areas, then layer in demographic and behavioral signals to understand who is walking by and what they are likely to buy. This helps us match the right location with the right portfolio, whether it is a nightclub, a beach kiosk, a beauty store, or a metro station. We tailor the mix, the right products, at the right price for the right occasion. Next comes the execution. We install the cabinet, brand the space, and stock it to sell. From that point, it's about smart replenishment. The system reads stock levels, analyzes consumption, and proposes the next order in seconds. In fact, once we place our cabinets, it becomes a locked-in replenishment machine with low effort and high returns. That's how we make it easy to sell every day, in every store. And finally, the maintenance. With a digitized fleet, we manage maintenance proactively, fixing issues before they appear, extending lifetime, and maximizing uptime. And this is not just smarter, it's also much cleaner. Our new cabinets have smarter components, high efficiency compressors, better insulation, and lower energy consumption. Since 2008, we have improved cabinet energy efficiency by 35%. This is how we grow the fleet sustainably. And this system works. Turkey is one of the proof points that our away-from-home system is successful. We have rebuilt the full model: data-led cabinet placement, tailored portfolios, predictive replenishment, and proactive maintenance. Today, Turkey is our second largest global business with nearly 70% of total sales from away from home, delivering consistent volume and value growth. What's next? First, we are now scaling a smarter, faster, more relevant away from home business. We are investing to expand our fleet every single year, and more importantly, expanding into new occasions. From gyms and rooftops to clubs and offices, we are creating new consumption moments wherever demand is evolving. Ice cream vending is the next frontier, driving availability in new locations through unmanned machines. We also work on route to market options. In developing markets like Mexico, Indonesia, and Philippines, we are scaling an ambient last mile distribution model to go deep into untapped territories. And finally, we aim to have all our cabinets digitally enabled by 2030, operated with a harmonized system that is globally consistent yet locally responsive, with built-in best practice capabilities from across the world. This is our away from home story. High frequency, high margin, high precision retail. A system that sells every day in every store and powers our next wave of value creation. This is the Magnum Ice Cream Company, making life taste better away from home.
Rebuilding our sales capability is actually a real game changer. You know, it really did not work to have sales integrated with all these different categories. And this stuff is really cool. You need to love execution. I love execution, but granular, data-driven execution, the return on that is enormous. Now, let me get to the growth algorithm. The market grows 3 to 4% a year. We were historically growing below the market. And we're committing ourselves to you and your investors to grow ahead of the market. This is a big step up for a company that over a very long period was underperforming. We said we as a team will make sure that we drive competitive growth, underpinned by volume growth. You can't price yourself to glory in consumer goods. I'm really proud that we got the volume engine going again. And with these sales systems, that is also really possible. Growth will come from stepped up innovations, an occasion-based model, digital demand creation, availability expansion across the world, and further premiumization. It's a long-term trend, and we can ignite it even further. So we commit ourselves to 3 to 5% growth over the medium term. Yeah, productivity. This business was really underperforming when it comes to productivity and profit. We have a really detailed, granular program that we built up with the best of the consultants in the different cost spaces to take 500 million cost out of this business. It's in the supply chain, it's about the end-to-end network, it's the way we run our factories, it's overhead reductions. And I told you we're going to add 1,000 extra sales reps. Actually, we did it already, and still our overheads will come down versus the former situation. And a lot of work on tech. We had a tech stack, logically, which was part of the bigger Unilever tech stack with a very broad functionality. Now we're building a fit-for-purpose tech stack, and it will create savings. This is not a pipe dream. Already in 2024, we delivered 70 million, and we continue to deliver this year. It's actually accelerating. big, very granular program. But let me now hand over to Sandeep, who again, in a video, will explain our supply chain. Sandeep, over to you.
Welcome to Supply Chain, the engine room of our business, where speed, precision, and scale come together to unlock profitable growth and cash. Hi, I'm Sandeep Desai, Chief Supply Chain Officer of the Magnum Ice Cream Company. I've spent nearly 25 years at Unilever across various geographies, Africa, Asia, and Europe, and have led large-scale transformations across the supply chain. Today, I'm here to tell you about the global ice cream supply chain. And I'm excited to show you how we're scaling smarter, faster, and stronger than ever. With 30 owned factories, nearly 330 production lines, close to 200 warehouses, 2,100 distributors, and 3 million cabinets, we operate one of the most complex cold chains in the world. That's scale, but it's also our strength. But it hasn't always been this way. Let me take you back to where we started. Historically, our network was built to optimize manufacturing costs, where, as an example, we moved production to Eastern Europe from Western Europe, creating large-scale factories. However, this led to an inefficient end-to-end network, and hence we lost out on total end-to-end cost. CapEx sat well below 3% of turnover, and this stagnated our digital advancement, our automation agenda, and led to some underperformance. Service level dipped as low as 80% in the peak of the summer season, and waste levels were also quite high. But all of that is changing. Starting in 2024, we began to unlock productivity to fuel growth, and the results are already showing, with an 80 bips gross margin improvement in 2024. How are we doing it? Well, let me talk to you about the 5 pillars that are transforming everything we do. First pillar is portfolio optimization. We've simplified and harmonized our portfolio to drive end-to-end efficiency. We've reduced the number of finished good SKUs by 35%. By redesigning our formulations, we've also reduced the number of flavors, in some instances as much as by 40%. Big examples in chocolate, strawberry, etc. This isn't just about cost saving, it's intelligent simplification for a leaner, faster network. Our sourcing strategy focuses on 4 priorities. Resilient and responsive sourcing, we're reducing lead times, building agility to respond to demand variability, margin and cash improvement. We're using data analytics, AI, to drive competitive buying. From optimizing specifications to increasing supplier flexibility, we're unlocking value across the portfolio, improving both margin and cash. Strategic supplier partnerships. Through long-term collaboration, we're co-developing innovation and building supply chain solutions together. This is how we scale smarter. Procurement isn't just about cost. It's also about building a network that's more resilient, flexible, and future-ready. We're building a leaner, more responsive supply chain. By localizing production and adding flexibility for seasonal demand, we've cut distribution distances in some of our geographies by up to 25%, enabling faster delivery, lower emissions, and better cost. We've also stepped up our investment in manufacturing. In Taichung, we've built one of our most automated sites, where advanced technology and machine learning have helped reduce startup duration by 50%, and our waste is at benchmark levels of 2%. We're re-engineering how we move our products, from optimizing last-mile delivery to rethinking our warehouse operations. We're reducing distance traveled, cutting cost, and boosting service with speed. This is logistics reimagined for reach and responsiveness, plan and digitization. Our lines are getting smarter, especially on Magnum. Machines are now AI-enabled, learning and adapting in real time. This has helped us cut waste in some of our operations by up to 50%. The program we drive is our Path to Excellence program, which is about focusing on extruded stick lines, which are interconnected and use artificial intelligence or machine learning to optimize process control and thus reduce waste and improve efficiency. As we embark on the demerger, we will be developing a technology stack that helps us integrate demand and supply planning through automated S&OP. And we will scale this globally. What's exciting is how this transformation is coming to life in every region of the world. Each region has a role to play. Europe is optimizing its end-to-end network to reduce miles traveled while staying close to consumer preferences. The US is building an optimized end-to-end supply chain, fixing the basics in our manufacturing, debottlenecking assets, and resetting the logistics network. LATAM is scaling out of home and unlocking last-mile delivery in Mexico. METSA as a region is all about powering explosive growth. And Asia is doubling down on automation, led by our digital nerve center and lighthouse factory in Taichan. And already we're seeing very, very strong results. Since 2024, we've delivered over 130 million euros in cost savings, with 65 million euros alone in half one of 2025. We've delivered an 8 days inventory reduction versus 2023. We've got a 30% plus drop in our total recordable frequency rate, and we've unlocked 20% extra capacity in the US. And we're well on track to delivering the 350 million to 380 million euros savings by 2028. This is the supply chain that powers profitable growth for the Magnum Ice Cream Company. Simpler, faster, smarter. It's a supply chain that is built to develop the next practice and not just the best practice.
This is an unbelievable upside in this business. When Ian and Hein asked me to have a look at the role, I did an over-the-thumb analysis on the supply chain, supported by one of the leading supply chain consultants, and we found a lot of money, enough to bridge the profit gap versus my nearest by competitor and the snacking industry. And the more we worked on it, the more money we find. And we need this money because we need more profitability, but we also need more funds to reinvest. So, what do we do? We have to step up CapEx. Our return on invested capital, as you know, is very high, 23%. But we had underinvested in the supply chain. It was not digitized enough. The network was not optimal. We had the right factory, sort of at the right location, but not always the lines. So a lot of money to help expand growth, but also to get more profit out, but also investments in sales and distribution, because we had underinvested in those cabinets. Tech is really important. We're in a very fortunate situation that we design a new company, new processes, and we can apply latest tech, build the agents and the AIs in our organization structure, whether that's in marketing and sales, and as you've also seen in the supply chain. We're very proud of our history in Unilever and the very broad ESG agenda that we used to have. We focused it for this new company, very much on energy consumption in cabinets and our chain, on the raw materials, especially cocoa and dairy. It also has a social impact, employee safety and health, obviously very important, and getting our governance framework really tight. When you set up a new company, you really need to make sure that governance is done in a very disciplined way in all parts of the business. I think this translates, it's not only good for the planet, but it translates in real business value. Resilience, cost savings, retailer alignment. I believe we have a very good agenda.